Warden Mandy Martin, thank you for this opportunity to discuss this a little bit further. With the story yesterday about 310 Division Street, it will be a long work in progress. I would take it. It's not going to be open in the next week and the next month. It's going to be a work in progress.
We are now looking at the wraparound services that are a part of this service component, and so probably the spring, by the time we get everything into place. And I say we, that's in partnership, for example, with Transition House, and then the other services that will be supporting the various facets and the various needs for housing that are represented by this facility, whether it's, first off, living in cars, or geared to income housing and or long-term residency.
And will it? Do we know that yet? Like, will it be a shelter, so to speak? Will it be like Transition House, or will it be for longer periods of time, or is that sort of a work in progress?
Well, I think that's what this facility, because of its size and location, represents the opportunity to address those, all three of those components. So yes, the idea is to incorporate the services that Transition House currently offers into the 310 Division facility. And we've also got to consider too the warming hub in St. Peter's. Is this a way that we can incorporate that at 310 Division?
Going by memory, because I believe I did a story just before the warming hub opened this year, and I believe it costs upwards of $200,000 a year.
That is correct.
Or for 4 or 5 months, whatever the. So it's a lot of money for the, for the quarter year, for the third of the year that it's open.
I would say more like the third or whatever. Yes, it's $200,000 a year.
So that's
to provide.
So that would take a lot of if the new 310 takes the.
We can consolidate. We can consolidate the services. The other thing is too. This facility at 310 has a fully operational industrial kitchen, for example, and then the rooms are already in place. Many of them are accessibility issues have already been addressed. There are all these sorts of things, and then we start matching and considering how these facilities are going to be used.
Should it? Did it come all of a sudden? Like, was this sort of like? Did this just sort of like came on the horizon? It's like we better scoop it now.
In my mind, yes. In my mind, I don't know what, but I'd say 3 weeks to a month is a pretty sudden opportunity, and we jumped at it. I think it's just, to me, it's a quasi-miracle to have this and this opportunity. Keep in mind, building houses, I don't care what you're talking, that takes time, permits, etc. And that's the beauty of this place too. It already meets the code. It already is zoned properly. It's all those aspects of building facilities has already been met. It's an instant, and I think it's just such a wonderful opportunity.
Over the bridge now, let's talk about some things that may not be a concern around the neighborhood. Obviously, it's going to be concerned, the NIMBY attitude, but I mean, like, you've got Transition House there. Some people, yes, some people no, that don't like it there. This is, 2 times bigger, 3 times bigger. Does that mean bigger problems, more problems?
Well, I think what's happening is that this will be a fuller service facility. Don't forget, it's not just the Transition House operation and needs that will be met or addressed. Also, the other aspects, the other rent geared to income or shelter or housing or whatever, will all be addressed within this facility. And there's office space, there's the opportunity. It will be in one location. It's off Chapel Street. It's on Division Street. the main thoroughfare, and I think that provides a separate entrance and a separate attitude, and it's within that one facility. In other words, and then the warming room isn't, 3 blocks away or 5 blocks away, whatever. It's a way of consolidating and meeting needs, one-stop shopping in a way.
And like you touched on, will people living there be charged for income or for staying there? Like a geared to income, like when I did a story. Let me take it back. When I did a story on sleeping cabins in Kingston, they said it was geared to income. So if they would take, I believe the woman said they'd take up to 30% of what the people were making just to get them sort of back in the game, if I can say it that way, of how life is. So I'm just wondering about this place. Would there be anything like that?
I don't, at this point, we don't know. Everything's under consideration and how to best use the facilities and the opportunities that this represents. So that is to come. That is to come. But that is what rent geared to income does, or social housing, etc.
Anything, and again, I don't know this, like, well, because security is at the warming hub, too early to tell whether they'd have full-time security there or not.
Those are aspects of the operations that are to be worked out. To my mind, this is putting us ahead a year to 2 years in terms of if we were building something and trying to get a new location or new housing or whatever. We've already moved 2 years ahead. And we have the luxury of now addressing these concerns over the next 3 months and doing it without the anxiety of also building or being under construction or negotiating and so on. So it's a win-win, I think, for everyone. And the fact that it's located where it is, near food operations and other services, I think it tidies up a lot of things. It hits a lot of the marks that we want to do. And, with county housing, we cannot discriminate against who applies or how. There is a roster, and there is a standard, and needs are met and criteria have to be hit. And that's what we're going to be doing. I think all the agencies involved. But here we are. We have the hardware, shall we say.
Will it be coming out how much the cost was?
I don't know. And certainly at county council, there's a special meeting of county council tomorrow, where this whole thing will be presented, and it's budget time. That's also part of the special council meeting. I would suspect that there'll be ballpark figures. Yes.
Last question. If it will work, but this is all up to the individuals, I take it, because if like anything else, you can have a nice roof, but if the individuals don't like the color of the roof or something, it's not something you can force on them.
Precisely. You can't round up people and force them to stay or live anywhere. But here's the thing. We are providing these opportunities. Like right now, we have rooms available for people. We've had rooms available throughout this whole time, and now too, and through the winter. Like 17 rooms, 17 spaces. If people aren't going to take them, we can't force them to. We are meeting our obligation. We are meeting the needs and the demand. If some people don't want to take it up, well, that's their decision. But I want it clearly understood that we have understood the need, and we are providing, and we are open and have arms open for people. If they choose not to take it, it's like people choosing not to get on a train, or the bus or whatever. If you choose not to move forward, that's your decision. But as far as I'm concerned, the taxpayers of this county and the communities are meeting and exceeding our social expectations, and we mean it. This isn't window dressing.